Hello folks, and welcome to the Counting Sheep podcast, episode 50. My name is Ruth, and I am the host of these shenanigans here on my YouTube channel, Counting Sheep. I live in Vermont with my husband and 4 sheep, some chickens. Last count, I think they were at 7. Cooper, who is right beside me, he's my golden retriever. He's 13 years old. And my cat Dora, who is missing in action right now. But if you've been with me for a while and you're coming back, thank you so much for coming back. You may recognize that we're in a different location today. I usually film up in my extra bedroom, which has kind of become my little office / craft room. But it is, the only term I can say is a term that I'm borrowing from Keisha from Pine Bear Knits here on YouTube. It's hella hot. Yeah, we've had the last couple days, it's been in the 90s and with some considerable humidity. So it's been a challenge trying to keep us cool, as well as Cooper, who is, as I said, 13 years old, and he likes to hang out in the bedroom upstairs, and I told him that was unacceptable for today. So we had to coax him downstairs where it's nice and cool. We have an air conditioner running here in the main part of the house. It's just the one section of the house that we close off is like a living room, kitchen, dining area, kind of open situation. And that air conditioner is humming along, and but I think yesterday it just couldn't keep up. And at one point we were only 10 degrees cooler in here than outdoors. So yeah, trying to keep everybody cool. Hella hot out there. I hope if you're in a situation like this, that you are keeping cool as well. I know the whole northern eastern seaboard has had this weather for the past couple of days. Good news is it's supposed to break tonight. I already kind of feel it, going that way. If you're new here, welcome. I don't usually wax on about the weather. I kind of give a little weather report, kind of like the Brits do, and then I move on from there. But we've had a lot of rainy weekends up until now, and if you ask any Vermonter at this point, they'll tell you they'll put up with the rain before they'll put up with this. So they just, Vermonters are not used to this kind of weather. So we like it cool, and anyway, so that's the end of that. If you are new here, welcome. I usually talk about all of my fibery stuff, crochet, knitting, some spinning, and I'm just fresh back from a weekend of workshops up in Middle Maine, like right across the border from New Hampshire and North Conway, where the White Mountains are. Had a great weekend up there. We had fabulous weather over the weekend, so I want to share with you, probably at the end, some of the things that I did during those workshops. All right, I don't have any finished objects for you. I usually start off with crochet, so I'm going to dive right in there. All of my stuff is works in progress, and that's okay, because I've been working on them pretty steadily, all of them, and they all have a little bit of progress in them since the last time. All right, so in crochet, I showed this to you the last time. Go sit down. Go sit down. Too hot to be sitting here. All right, so this this top is the Mirdza top. It is on the cover of the latest magazine out by Laine Productions. It's called Let's Crochet, and that is the top right there. It is by Linda Skuja. And I can show you better pictures of it here, I think. Of course, I have the actual directions bookmarked, but I don't have the pictures in the book bookmarked. All right, hold the phone, stay tuned. So yeah, so here is kind of a side view of it. She kind of did a design with a play on the granny square stitch, but then there's also these spider stitches in between. I don't know if you can see, let's see. I'm gonna bring this up close so maybe you can see those spider stitches right there. Yeah. And I am doing mine in Biches organic cotton, and that's the label there, Petit organic cotton. Excuse me, I misspoke. This is 100% organic cotton, and Biches hails from England. Don't let the name kind of delude you. You may think it was from France, but it's really from England. This is the soft blue-green color, and this is 328 yards to 100 grams, and it's also, actually it's made in Italy, but I believe B&B hails in the UK. I think their actual factories, you know, their distribution is from the UK. So this is a fingering weight yarn, and I am using, let's see, using a 3.5 millimeter hook, and I want to just show you how far I got. I finished the upper back, and now I'm working on the front, and I'm getting toward the part where we're going to join for underarm. But I just want to make sure I've got this situated so I can show you the proper way here rather than just a floppy mess, which is kind of what it is right now. But anyway, so yeah, this is the Mirdza top. This is the neck opening. Now the neck does get a treatment, a ribbing of sort after you're all done. But here is the stitch patterning, so you can see that kind of play on the granny stitch here, and then she has you do little spiders in between. Yeah, I know this is going to block out beautifully, but I'm going to hold it back here just so you can kind of get an appreciation for the patterning. Linda Skuja, I think believe I said in the past, is known for her texture. She really does texture very well. So yeah, I've got a few more rows to do on the front, and then I will be connecting up over here the armholes. Yeah, so really a lot of fun. This is very potato chippy. You just, when you get started with it, you just want to keep going and going and going. So I'm doing back and forth right now, but as soon as I connect up under the underarms, I'll be going in the round. Yeah, so that's the Mirdza top by Linda Skuja. And if I haven't said it before, this is a great magazine. If you can get a hold of it. I know the Woolly Thistle has a second, they just got a second delivery in of Let's Crochet, so I know they have copies. It's just, I've gone over it before, I've shown it before, but they've got some wonderful designs in here. And for a first take on a crochet magazine, for a company that mostly has concentrated on knitting, they've done a wonderful job. So I think the next one I'm going to do, I'm just going to show it because I think it's pretty. But this is the Sheila by Rosina Northcott, who is Zines and Rogers here on YouTube. She's pretty much an all crochet podcast, and she hails out of the UK. But this is her design. And I'm not sure if I'll go the whole length with the sleeves or not. I did order a cotton acrylic based yarn for this in a fingering weight, so I want to see how the drape is with that, and if it's nice and flowy and drapey, I may just take these up a little bit to make it more of a summery top. If not, it can, you know, also be a wonderful top for the shoulder seasons, fall and spring, of course. All right, so that's the Mirdza, coming along really well with that one. My next crochet top that I was working on, this is all kind of summery type things that I'm working on right now. This is a design by Nomad Stitches, otherwise known as Sandra Gutierrez. And this is her Bougainvillea top. And that's the picture there. I was attracted to this because of the no sleeve effect, as well as the embroidery on the crochet. Excuse me. I am using for this Scheepjes stonewashed yarn. Believe this is a sport weight yarn. Yes, it says it right on the label. The color is Smoky Quartz, and that color number is 802. It's 78% cotton and 22% acrylic. It's a nice yarn to work with. Now I have done some progress here as well. I just want to make sure I am in the right direction here so I'm not getting tangled up. So here's the front, and you can see I'm pretty much joined on the sides here. Nice big armhole, gotta love that. And then this is the back. So this nice shell stitch she has going on down here. Some nice airiness for days like today. Yeah, and nice drape as well. So yeah, it shouldn't take me much longer to get this one done because I'm working on getting down a good length here. I believe there's some treatment around both armholes and around the neck, and then there's the embroidery. So this will be a wonderful make to wear. Just stand up a wee bit here without knocking everything over. Yeah, so it's getting there. Yeah, so that's the Bougainvillea top. Nomad Stitches. I think I had to go down a hook size. This is a 2.75 millimeter. So a little progress there as well. Like to see progress. And then finally in crochet, in terms of what I've shown before, I wanted to show you this lovely cardigan, another Linda Skuja design. Everything landed on the floor. This is the Everleaf cardigan, and if you are a Plyful.com member, which is actually Sandra Gutierrez's subscription channel, it's a website. She also has YouTube videos here on YouTube. But this was, I believe, March, the month of March's pattern. And guest designer, and that's, I think, the second time Linda's been a guest designer for Sandra. They're good friends. But anyway, this is the Everleaf cardigan, and usually they're on Plyful for about a year, I think, and then they get re-released back to the designer, and then they can sell it. They could sell it themselves. So. I just want to see if there's any other pictures. I think there's any other pictures here I want to show you. I mean, these are just ones hanging up, but Linda has modeled this And Ravelry has the pictures if you want to actually see it on a human being. I chose the same exact yarn in the same exact colorway because I liked the yarn. I had to go down a needle hook size. This is a 4.5 millimeter, and I am more than halfway now to show you. This is, let's see, trying to figure out front and back here. Yeah, this is the front. Okay, so this is kind of a kimono shape. Yeah, and here are the lovely Everleafs leaves going up and down. And I have split. So this is, if you can imagine, this is the back I'm holding up with my hands, and this is going to go back over here like so, and then this part will be back here, and I've started on the other side. So this entire piece is going to be mirrored over here. Yeah, but I think it's gorgeous. Really, really nice pattern, nice yarn. Once again, this is the same yarn as I'm using for the Bougainvillea, and this one is the stone washed, and the color is yellow jasper, color number 809. So yeah, this one's gonna be a stunner. I can tell. I have to take it off though. It's gonna about kill me in terms of this will keep you warm for sure, and not to be worn in like a day like today. So all right, so that's the Everleaf cardigan. Once again, a little more progress on that. So I just want to get this out of here. All right, great. I wanted to show you something I started. As most of you know, I work for the Woolly Thistle, which is an online and now brick and mortar yarn shop in New Hampshire, which is right across the river from me, across the river and north of me. They got a new book in, Amigurumi book, and it's called A Year of Amigurumi Friends. I just want to show you the cover because it kind of tells it all. There are 24 different little figures you can make. And of course you can make them with safety eyes or not, depending on who the recipient of the little amigurumi will be. I have started one basically to kind of have as a sample in their shop, and they have such a thing with chickens going on up there right now. They've knitted, I know Maggie has knitted several, what do they call them, emotional support chickens. I made some other crochet chickens, which I think I showed here on the podcast and gave away at work. So I went ahead and made this chicken here. Well, I started it last night. So this will show you, I actually started it late afternoon yesterday. And so this will show you how fast this goes. This particular designer uses a fingering weight cotton. I have drips and drabs of J&S fingering, and it works just as well. But anyway, here's my little chicken started so far. I've got her little wings on. She's got pins in her, and that's only because her little neck feathers were kept flipping up too much. I didn't like that, so I was kind of trying to train it to settle down a little bit, and I think I managed to do that. Helps if you have a little moisture in the air, of course. So yeah, and then there's the little chicken tail. I don't know if you can see, yeah, could probably see a little chicken tail. Of course, the comb, the beak, and the wattle are not on yet. I'm going to try to get those done tonight. I don't think it'll take me too long to do those, but this is JNS color number 32, and this is JNS color number 4. I had leftovers from something, I don't know what, but they were kicking around, and I thought, oh, perfect chicken colors. So depending on what chicken you own or what chicken you're looking at. So, but yeah, really easy instructions in the book. She walks you right through it. I have a bazillion safety eyes that I bought in bulk at one point, so I have more than enough safety eyes to last me a lifetime. So I'm going to try to use them up as best I can. But anyway, yeah, this is, I believe her name, what did they call her? Harriet. And then her little chick is called Cooper. How can I, resist making a Cooper as well? Since I have a Cooper dog who is sleeping on the couch right now, thankfully. I'm so glad he's comfortable because, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes if they're not, he kind of sucks up a lot, sucks it up, and I don't want him doing that, and not letting me know what's going on. But anyway, this is little Cooper. So yeah, maybe I've got a little Cooper. Just got to dig out my yellow, and he'll be done too. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. These are the tangents I go off on late in the afternoon and in the evening. All right, so on to knitting. Once again, just 2 whips to show you. I'm going to have a little slurp of my water here. So I'm going to show you my traditional Gansy socks first, and these are by Wendy Johnson. She has a book, Socks from the Toe Up. This actual is a card from her, it's a deck of cards, and on each card is one pattern from the book. So if you have the book, it's the same as having the cards. I think the book goes into a little more detail in regards to sizing and that sort of thing. But this is really convenient to just throw in your bag and take along with your socks as you're knitting them. I think I only added 15 rows to these socks. But as you can see, the pattern's really coming out. And I'm enjoying the toe up method. So I do my socks 2 at a time on a long circular needle here. I have a size 0 here. I refuse to go any lower than that. So these might look a tad big, and indeed they don't have as much negative ease as I like. So what I will do is, this yarn tends to stick to itself pretty well. So when I go to block them, I'm gonna throw them in some hot water, and I think that should just kind of bring them in a little bit more. But yeah, so this yarn is a 50-50 cotton wool, and it is by Wooldreamers. It's called their Saona, and yeah, it's 50% Andalusian cotton and 50 wool. It's merino, and manchega. So they have a combination there together. Manchega is the sheep that gives us manchega cheese as well. So anyway, yeah, that's Saona, and it's a woolen spun wool. So you can imagine it's quite fluffy. It's got some real body to it. But I'm glad that the stitch the stitches are shown pretty well with it. normally you would go with a worsted weight yarn for stitch definition, but this is working out just fine. So so yeah, that is the traditional Gansy socks by Wendy Johnson. And just, you know, I'm a slow sock knitter. I've said it before. I pick them up, I do a couple rows, and I sit them down and go on to something else. So that just seems to be my MO when it comes to socks. I do eventually get them done, and when I do, I'm very happy. You know, like I don't know what kind of motivation that is. Probably lack of motivation in knitting socks. I don't know. But yeah, they're good. Like they're compact, so they're good to, you know, take along to wherever you're going. So yeah, those are the socks. And then finally, I wanted to show you, this is really exciting. This, I've worked on this quite a bit. I went to the Shetland Islands last summer. It was the best trip. And I came back with some Shetland wool yarn from Donna Smith, who is Langsoond. That's the name of her yarn company. She has her own flock of sheep on the most beautiful piece of land I've ever seen. It overlooks all sorts of water. And I went right to her studio, which is attached to her house. She works in cooperation with other farmers, other Shetland sheep farmers, and she produces the Langsoond wool. So I just want to pull that skein out here. So this is her tag. She does have a website, and this is the DK, and the shade is Light Stain. So this is a DK yarn, 238 yards per 100 grams in this nice light gray color. And I am making the Atlantic Waves Slipover. And I think when last we spoke, I was just barely above the color work. And I have split now for the front and back, and I'm working on one of them. I think it's the front. So sorry about the wrinkles here. But it's all kind of in the round stockinette. So all you do is knit, 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 knit. It's good card knitting. It's good watch a movie knitting. It's a good audiobook. Listen to an audiobook and sit down and knit. So yeah, the lace piece down here was made first, and going back and forth this way, and then you pick up stitches along one side of it and then work up, and then you get to the color work and then the stockinette. Yeah, so this has been really fun to make. I have the back stitches on hold right now on another needle, but I'm planning on busting out my barber cords because this is a little stiff to work around. So, if you don't know what barber cords are, they're a synthetic, I want to say they're almost like plastic. They have a bit of grip to them, but they hold your stitches better than waste yarn. When you have waste yarn in your stitches, sometimes the stitches will drop down and it's hard to pick them back up. With the barber cord, that doesn't happen. So it acts kind of just like this cord on the knitting needle, except that you don't have the knitting needle part to deal with. So, but yeah, so that is the Atlantic Waves Slipover, and so glad that's coming along pretty well. I'm gonna have to wind up this last skein into a ball it up, and get going with that. It does get some color work around this part, the sleeves and then around the neck as well. But I think that's a very simple one or two rows of color. And this is, of course, the same color. Got threads everywhere here. The same color as this color here. So, alrighty, there we go. I'm going to leave the skein out because I think that's the next thing I'm going to do is wind that up. She also gave me one of her bags while I was there. Lovely souvenirs. All right, so that's all for my knitting and crochet. I just wanted to discuss briefly what I did over the weekend, where I was. This particular group of workshops is run up in Denmark, Maine, and it's called the Pleasant Mountain Fiber Arts Workshops. And there are a whole bunch of different kinds of fibery related workshops going on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday around this time of year every year. And when the listing first comes out, I always kind of peruse it and then I set it aside. And then I give it a week or two and then I find something that just jumps out at me. This time around, I did things that were not knitting and crochet related at all. And I've done that in the past as well, but just so you know, I'm not really a quilter. I'm not a really big sewist either, but although I have made my own clothes. But this particular course, the first one I took, was an all-day course, and the instructor, Connie, is a quilter, so she helped us create this, started to create this jacket. So what you had to do is bring a very much oversized, washed and dried sweatshirt. We ended up cutting off all the stretchy parts, the neckband, the cuffs, and then the waistband as well. And that's what's in this bag. She said save everything until you're all done because sometimes you may need to repair something or whatever. So this is actually the back portion. And so what she had us do was just bring fabric scraps. And this is kind of pretty, how should we say, bonkers. I actually have some sari silk over here. I had a piece of this, and these are actual butterflies. And she says, oh, you've got to use that. I have no idea where this came from. Piece of silk with a house on it. She goes, oh, you got to use that. I happen to like this fabric a lot. It's like a marble technique on the fabric. And then I just stuck this little piece on the end just to make it long enough for the sweatshirt. But then I just started haphazardly, adding fabric, and this by all means is not even near completion, obviously. She had us cut all the pieces apart from the sweatshirt so we could work on them flat, and then we'll sew them back together again eventually. But her jackets were gorgeous, and I did take some footage of those, and I'll put them in at the end. What I'm planning to do with this is maybe use some yo-yos, which are just a circle of fabric that's gathered up, and put them in between. Also, I crochet, as you know, and she had said bring some crochet doilies. Me being a crocheter, I had none on hand. Don't ask me why, but I can certainly make them and then add them in as applique, that sort of thing. So it's a very fluid type of artistry, which is really appealing to me. She said, don't try to match fabrics or anything. The fun in this is having it as crazy as possible, and then you can do whatever to it, embroider it. She did a lot of embroidery on one of hers. a lot of running stitch and that sort of thing. And then also add pockets if you want. So yeah, this really wet my whistle. I decided to do all hand stitching on mine, even though the other ladies in the class were doing machine. I had brought my machine, but when she said you could sit and stitch if you want, I was into that. So always like a chance when I can sit back and hand stitch something, because it's really kind of as meditative as knitting and crochet are for me. So yeah, that was called the No Piece Left Behind jacket class, quilted jacket, and the instructor's name is Connie Whittaker, and yeah, she hails from Maine, so very talented person, as all the instructors that teach at PMFA are. The other class I took was a dyeing class, a Shibori class, and specifically the Sekka technique, which is basically what you do. You take a piece of fabric and you fold it into a triangle about, you know, this big, maybe this big, and then you take two wooden blocks, same shape, and you put rubber bands around, you sandwich it in between, the material in between, put rubber bands loosely around, and then you set it into an indigo bath for an hour. And then after that, you take it out and you clamp it in the middle with a C-clamp. And it's funny because my husband walked in at the end of the class. He goes, "What are you doing with all those C-clamps?" You know, so I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to start borrowing C-clamps from his workshop downstairs. But anyway, I wanted to show you what I came up with. The first one we dyed was just on white fabric, and this was the result. So cool. Yeah. And then we had an aquamarine type background fabric, and this is what, of course, the way you actually fold the fabric has a lot to do with the type of print that you get. And then we had a background of a magenta fabric, so this one's very pretty. Yeah. Yeah, this was really nice. And then finally the yellow one, which of course the indigo comes up green. So. But truly, even the instructor said it's like you really kind of do the same techniques, but you get something different every time, and that's why she loves it so much. It's always a surprise when something comes out, and the fabric stays in the C-clamp for about 45 minutes. Then you take the C-clamp off and you rinse it, and you take it off of the blocks and you rinse it, and so what you're doing is exposing the indigo dye to oxygen, and that's when you get all the brilliant colors coming out right before your eyes. So yeah, really fun. Had a great time this past weekend, so yeah, highly recommend. It's always great to go away to a beautiful place and take some great workshops. All right, I think that is going to do it for me this time around. I hope you're all staying cool if you're in a hot environment. I hope you're crafting, and I hope you're well, and I will see you on the next one.